Hi everyone, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Let me know when you hop on. Get myself pulled up over here so I can see comments, hopefully. So I was in one event that was supposed to take place this morning. There we go. And then when it was canceled, I hopped over to this one, and I'm a fill-in. You're probably wondering why my KitchenAid is sitting here with my sewing machine. Hi, Brenda. How are you? So we are making something for a KitchenAid mixer tonight. So as soon as I see that I'm put in the event, we will get started. Oh, thank you, Misty. Welcome, everybody. This is What You Doing Wednesday, and it is an event that happens every Wednesday. It's a fun group. It's a fairly new group, and if you are not a member, please join, because you never know what somebody's doing. And somebody can do gardening and games and cooking, and you never know what you're going to see. Hi, Barb. So I watched today. For whatever reason, I'm not allowed to comment again. So, hi, Angelica. So, yeah, I'm going through that again. I thought that was all done and over with. So what we're doing is we're making a bowl cover for my KitchenAid mixer. And I make these a little differently. So this is my fabric, but I use a waterproof lining. Hi, Jan. Thank you for sprinkling. I appreciate that. I use a waterproof lining. Now, this is food grade, and it is breathable because I make the ones for jars for sourdough. So this is breathable. But one thing, it's nice. You can wipe it off, or you can throw it in a washer and lay it to dry. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're making a bowl cozy. My husband gave me the weirdest look when I came out of the kitchen carrying my KitchenAid, like, what is she up to now? So this is my bowl. This is the large bowl that I'm using, and this is my fabric, and this is the lining. Oh, you've been wanting to make one? So all you do is you take your bowl, your jar, whatever, and find your middle of your fabric. Let me put you around my neck so that y'all can see what I'm doing. Okay. Find the center of your bowl. Measure, or your jar. Bowl, you want to measure out 3 inches because you want enough to come up around your sides. And then what I'm going to do is sew around this circle, leave an opening for turning. Now, when I do that, I always put a pin going the opposite direction than my other pins. That way I know I have to stop there. Hi, Stephanie. Welcome. Hi, Jody. Thank you all for hopping on. So, this lining is really nice. It's waterproof. Hi, Kathy. It's waterproof, it's breathable, it's washable, it's food safe. So that's what I put on the underside of mine. Now, you can just use 2 pieces of fabric, but this lining helps especially if you're doing sourdough and it raises and stuff, it helps your fabric from getting stained. Hi, Sharon. Welcome. Oh, you're fine. Thank you for sprinkling, Jody. You're fine. Pay attention to the road. So this gingham is just like homespun. It's the same on both sides. So what we're going to do is, I already have my lines drawn on somewhere, and we're going to get ready to sew this. So you just start out with a gigantic circle. So I'm going to start where my pin is going the opposite direction. I have sewn for so many years, and if I don't do this, I will just sew right over it, and then I'll have to get the seam ripper. Thank you, Kathy, for sprinkling the seam ripper out and fix it. So I always do that after I don't know how many hundreds of times of having to get that seam ripper out. Now, if we have time, we're going to also make the bow that goes across the head of the machine. So have you all seen those? Thank you for sprinkling. I appreciate it. Hi, Kay. So I'm just setting my speed. And I'm just using a 1/4 inch foot. Okay. What is wrong with my thread again? Now, I even changed threads tonight. Last night, I had an awful time with my thread. I bought 2 new cones of thread because that's what I like to use. And it kept breaking. No, something still is wrong. Let me rethread it. Sometimes you just have to give in and rethread because they get very contrary. Oh, I see my problem. It's stuck there when I threaded. I have an auto threader, and it was stuck up there in the auto threader. Okay, so we're going to do this again. This is really fast to thread. As much as I like sewing, these new machines are so temperamental. See? It was just stuck. And I don't like to sew over pins because every time I do, I got to change a needle. So I think I had some of you confused because I was supposed to be in an event this morning. And Petra's mom got sick. And so she had to cancel the event. So the last I saw, she was feeling better, which is good. So those of you who do not know me, my name is Jenna. I live in Middle Georgia, and I mostly sew. I do some crafting, but I've been teaching sewing on my page. Real basic, easy to sew things. I'm glad to see that sewing is starting to get popular again. Yeah, she's feeling better from the last post I saw, which is good. Hi, Patty. How are you? We are making a bowl cover for a KitchenAid mixer bowl. And I'm just taking my pins out as I go and making sure everything's lined up. I bought this fabric when Joann's went out of business. It has a sheen to it, but it still matches. I didn't even know they made gingham in a sheen fabric. Hi, Julie. So I'm just going to turn this right side and clip around all these curves because it will lay better when it is if you clip around your curves. So I'm just going to clip. Just make some snips up to your sewing line. Those of you just joining, we're making a bowl cover. I just lost all my comments. What is going on today? Hi, Boom. Hi, Tanya. My Facebook has been going crazy today. Has anybody else's? I'm getting ready for a yard sale on Saturday, so I was going through stuff. I was listening to everybody, but I was only able to comment twice. It would not let me comment. I tried to go on my personal page and comment. It wouldn't let me do that either. So I don't know what's going on. So I'm going probably about 1/4 inch snips all the way around. So I found a pattern somebody had, and they wanted $24 for the pattern. I thought, there's no way, I'll make my own. So I sat here with all different size bowls and jars and made my own. I mean, God bless them if they can get $24 for the pattern. Okay, so we snipped all around it. Let's clip our threads. So those of you just hopping on, this is a waterproof fabric I'm using. That's what I like to use on something like this. Hi, Dorothy. How are you? Now I'm just working this out so that I get my edges, and I'm going to pin it as I do that because we have to sew for our elastic. And if you just rub your fabric between your fingers, you can work that right out to the edge. I should have brought my clips over. I'm good. I have been extremely busy the last couple of days. Trying to get ready for a yard sale. Putting stuff on Marketplace, the big stuff. It's like, oh, we're downsizing, so. We had an upright freezer, and this person's been messaging me for 2 days. And finally, 15 minutes ago, she messaged me and said, I'm on my way. And I was like, oh, crap. I got to go live. Thankfully, Tony came. So this is just going to hold. Now I'm not pressing this out with my iron because of this fabric. I scorched this one time. I know, right? 2 days. Oh, you're welcome. 2 days she's been messaging me. She's lucky somebody else didn't come first because I had a lot. I sold an upright freezer, so I had a lot of response to it. So I measured out from my edge 1 inch and then 1.5 inches. And that's going to be the channel for our elastic. And also give just a little bit of overhang over the edge of the bowl. So when we put the elastic in, it will look a little bit like it's has a ruffle on it. Yeah, Brenda, anytime you want to know how to make something, send me a message. I'll try and help you make it. I'll do a video. So we're back to our opening. And we're not sealing this closed right now because we have to sew around this again twice. But we have to leave an opening here for our elastic. I just changed my settings. There we go. So we're going to sew again. And I don't know if you can see, little tick marks. 1.5 inch. So we're going to go around this twice and sew up to this opening. So the inside one we're going to totally go around, and then the second one we're going to leave an opening. So there we go. We have it all pinned. So I'm going to sew the inside one first, because that's a solid circle. I'm also working on a mat to put under my I'm picking up extra pins. There we go. Under my machine. So she's going to have a bow and a cover and a mat. We're going to dress her all up. So I'm just going to follow my little tick marks all the way around. So this one is a solid circle. We're not leaving any openings. So hopefully we get a chance to make that bow. If not, I'll post a picture of her all dressed up. So I just used a water-soluble fabric pen. Hi, Sheila. I made 2 little tick marks. One is an inch and one is 1.5 inch. So there's an inch and 1.5 inch. Right now I'm sewing the 1.5 inch. That's going to make the channel to run the elastic through. But you can make this wider if you want a big flounce around the sides of your bowl. So this one, we're going to leave the opening. And I'm just going to, for some reason, that one little corner won't stay out. I'm just going to run right along the edge. And then we're going to have a channel for the elastic. And I'm just using a 1/4 inch elastic, because this isn't something that you need really tight around your bowl. You just need it to gather. So this has been a nice event. There's been all kinds of things done today. I just wish I could comment. Oh no, I like hearing a sewing machine too. Except when it starts talking back. Okay, we are back to our opening. If any of you sew and you're out and about and you see one of these bingo, they pick up the whatever they use on their cards. Look how nice that is to pick up pins. Okay, so there it is. We have our channel sewn in, and we're going to put our elastic in. Now I have two safety pins in this. One's going to feed the elastic through the channel, and when I get the end in the opening, I'm going to pin it. That way I don't pull my elastic all the way through. It will stop it. What, a bowl cover? You need a bowl cover? So we're just going to feed this right through that channel we just sewed. Hi Tammy. I was watching you today, but Facebook would not let me comment. I think I commented once and that was it. I was done. So I'm watching this end of my elastic so that I could pin it so we don't pull it all the way through. Okay, so we're close enough. So I'm just going to take this and pin it. That way we don't pull this through and have to start all over again. Oh, thanks, Dorothy. I've done that enough times, so anytime I do elastic, I use 2 straight pins. Now, there's different ways that you can close your elastic. Oh, you're welcome. Now, the expensive clothing way is you take a piece of fabric and you sew it on your elastic and put your elastic together and then wrap your fabric around and then sew it. Some people just tie it, or you can just sew it. You can hand sew it, you can machine sew it. The smaller your elastic, the harder it is to get under your needle. So I'm going to pin this just till I get it underneath of there. And I'm just going to go back and forth a couple of times. Now the needle's down, I can pull my pin out. So I'm just going back and forth a couple of times, just so I know that it is going to stay. And then we can work it through. So we can even pull this even tighter. Looks like a big shower cap, doesn't it? So I'm going to pull this out and make this even tighter. Make a cute doll hat, wouldn't it? For those of us that make dolls. So for the sake of time, because I want to do this bow, I'm going to tie it. Now, when I was in home ec, this is the way my home ec teacher told us to do elastic. You want to make sure that it's really tight. So I always like the double knot. So I'm going to straighten this out so that we can fold this in and sew it. So I made this 3 inches wider, my fabric, than the diameter of my bowl. So I laid my bowl on the top and then measured out 3 inches from that. So if you want to make one, Yeah, they're very easy to make. You don't have to use the waterproof lining. That's just the way I sell them with that. You can just use 2 pieces of fabric. So I'm just going to go right along that edge just to close that up. Just working that up underneath of there. There we go. So we're all enclosed all the way around. So let's get our bowl. Now, if you like to do applique, we've been doing a lot of applique on my page. You can put an applique here. You put an apple or a cow or whatever. It doesn't have to be so tight on this because it's more of a decorative thing unless you're doing sourdough. And this is great for sourdough. Yep. Yep. If you're doing a beeswax, Dorothy, you want to make sure your fabric is 100% cotton. But there's that. So let's make, see, it just has a little bit of a ruffle here. Thank you. So there's that. So when you put it on your mixer, now I store all my attachments in my bowl, so that way no dust will get on any of my attachments. So let's do the bow for the top. So I measured around, let me bring her over here. So I measured around the throat here, or the head, right in front of the switch, the locking switch, and it's 16 inches. So I cut my fabric 30 inches because you want it to be really tight or really gathered, and because we're going to run elastic through that too. And then it just slips up over the head. So this is the knot. Hi, Michelle. Thank you. And this is 30 inches long, 3 inches wide. And then this is the knot. And it is 3 inches by 4 inches. And we're just going to fold it in half. Now I put an interfacing on this because this fabric is so silky feeling, just to give it some body. We're going to crease the center and then fold each end almost to the center. Just leave a little bit of gap between the 2 pieces. See that? Just a little gap. And then fold it in half again. But what we're first going to do is we're going to do this long tube, and that's all this is a long tube. So I'm sewing across. No, I don't want to do that. I need to sew my 2 ends together first. So So I'm going to pull out these 2 end pins, right sides together, making sure that this is not twisted. And I'm going to sew straight across. Now see how bad this fabric frays? If I hadn't got such a good deal on it when Joann's was going out of business, I would have returned it because I've never seen this in a silky type fabric. So I'm doing a 1 inch only because this is fraying. So my daughter actually is the one that told me about these bows. She's a pastry chef. And she said, make me this, Mom. Like, okay. So we're going to fold this in half and pin it. So I guess you can decorate just about anything, right? And we're going to match our edges. Just so we can sew this. Hi, Diane. Every time I see your name, I think it's my sister. I just see out the corner of my eye, Diana, and I think it's my sister hopping on. Because her name is Diana. She doesn't hop on very often. Okay, let me pull these pins out. So we need to make an opening, or leave an opening. Make sure this isn't twisted. There we go. It had a twist in it, so I had to get that twist out so I don't sew that twist in. So I'm putting my pin going the opposite direction so that I leave the Boom, you don't have me on replay. I'm live. I do that sometimes when I look up in the upper corner. I think I got someone on replay, and I don't. So we're just going to put some pins here and there just to hold this so it doesn't slip. Okay. So I'm going to start sewing right where I put the pin the opposite direction. And I'm going to take this off because this is a tube and I can run it right around that sleeve board. And I need to clean her again. I've been doing so much quilting the last few days, and I'm making everybody in my family a throw for Christmas. So I've been doing lots of quilt blocks. Simple ones. I have the Sunbonnet Sue that we started the other night almost done. Oh, that's your name, Kay? Yeah, Diana is my sister's name. So this will go right around that sleeve board. That's nice if your machine has this. When you're doing tubes and things, it's really easy. Can you be in my family? Of course. Even the grandkids are getting a throw. I have my husband's almost done. His is Americana. One son is motorcycle theme. One is a car theme. I'm not saying the girls because they hop on here. My grandson, I haven't decided what his is going to be yet. He's a little more difficult. 16-year-olds, they're a little more difficult. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this all right side up. Oh, that's my sister's. Diana Lynn is my sister. Yours is Diana K. That's nice. Yeah, that's real nice. So let's turn this. Where's my safety pin? Now you all saw I just had 2 of them. So I cut that back open because we had to make the tube before we close it up. So I have to sew it closed again. So there's all kind of tube turners. But I had someone get upset with me one time when I was using stuff that most of you don't have. So now I just use everything that you all have, like tube turners, like safety pins, instead of using a tube turner. Okay, so I need a piece of elastic that, let's turn you around here. It's going to go around here. So I'm measuring this, just wrapping it around, and you don't want it so tight that your elastic is stretched out and doesn't have any stretch anymore. So I'm going to cut right there. I'm going to cut that off. And this is going to be our elastic. So we're going to feed it through this tube. I just had 2 of them, right? Did I leave it inside? Nope. Okay, well, I lost my other straight pin, or safety pin already. So when I get to this end, I'm going to pin it, which I'm going to do right now so I don't lose it. Nope, it's not in there. So this is just like a scrunchie. You want it to be, the gather is really full. But anytime you're using elastic, you don't want to pull the elastic so tight that you have no stretch, left it to the elastic. I have seen that done, and it kind of defeats the purpose of having elastic. Oh, there's my other straight safety pin. So I'm just going to tie this one too, because we still have the bow to make. Since this is for me, it's good. So we do things different for ourselves than we do for others, don't we? Like I leave my sewing go forever, but if someone said, hey, I need my pants hemmed, I stop and do it. So I'm going to tuck one end into the other. And then I'll show you how it just slides right up over. And you got a scrunchie. Now we're going to do the bow. So the bow is 2 pieces. This is the shape. And I put interfacing on just one half of this, just because of it's so slick. And then we're going to do this one and turn it. So when you're doing this, you don't want your fabric butted right up touching. You want a little tiny bit of a gap, because when you turn it, it takes up that gap and it folds a lot nicer. So I'm going to sew down one side and up the other. It doesn't have to be sewn up both sides, but it just looks a little nicer. And this is goes in the middle of our bow. Now I'm going really close to the edge. Get it a little bit closer. There we go. And so I don't have to cut my thread. I'm just going across one side of it. This just makes it look a little bit nicer. And then we're going to hand stitch this closed. Now I'm going to go all the way around the edge of this, and I'm leaving one side there open so I can turn it. So I'm not quite sure how the bow and the scrunchie started, but they are cute when they're sitting in your kitchen. Oh, hi, Jamie. Thank you for sprinkling. We are making bowl cover and a scrunchie for a KitchenAid mixer. So just like any other curve, you gotta clip this. And then down here on a point, we're just going to cut straight across and cut this bulk out. I can see better on this side. Now, anytime you have an inside corner like this is, you definitely want to make sure that you get that corner cut right at that corner, because that will help your corner turn out a little nicer. This gets to be bothersome when you're making a bunch of these, but it does make your finished product look really nice. You know, that is really close to the edge. I'm going to sew that a little bit more. That was really close to the edge there, and I didn't like the way that looked. Oh, you like that? Yeah, my daughter sent me a picture. She was at somebody's house and they had a bow on their KitchenAid. So she sent me a picture of it and said, "Mom, I want this." So hers is pink. So I'm going to punch that point out. I wasn't sure if we'd have time to make both of these. I'm glad we do. Now there's two different ways you can do this bow. You can tie it in the center and not make that, or Heather sent me two different pictures. One was tied in a bow, and then it had, see, like a great big bow tie. I'm going to top stitch all the way around this. I think it will look better. And while I do this with everything I sew, I always go around the edges, make sure there's no straight pins left. So I'm going to fold in our opening and sew. And catch that right in the top stitch. There we go. So I'm waiting on my granddaughters to see their moms and say they want them for their KitchenAids too. So I'm thinking I'm going to tie this around the scrunchie instead of using that. We're going to try it both ways. So I'm getting a little closer to that point. Oh, yeah, those pins are hard to get out once you sew them in. I'm always afraid that someone's going to get jabbed. I'd rather get jabbed than have somebody else get jabbed, but it is so easy to leave a straight pin in. I did a doll series last year, and I had so many comments. Why are you squeezing it like that? I was checking for pins. So let's clip our threads. Let's see, do we want to tie this or use that? I think I'm going to like it better tied. Let's put it on our scrunchie and see. Oh, we have to sew this opening closed. Good thing I saw that. Well, if I didn't catch it this time, I would have caught it when I took it off my machine to use it. So I'm putting one end inside of the other, and we're going to slip stitch this closed. So all I'm doing is just a real quick little slip stitch, and then we'll put the bow over top of this. And then we'll put it on our machine and see how it looks. And we're almost out of time, aren't we? So you know what? I can slip stitch this closed later. Let's put our bow on it and put it on our machine. Up next after me is our backroom creations. So please, you can refresh your page or hop over to her page and watch it. But please join. So cute that looks. Let's bring her over here and slip it on. So there's that. And there is that. And there we are. Oh, I do too. You hopped on here and I didn't even see you on here. Well, thank you so much. It would be. Yes, it would be. Looks like it has ears. So God bless all of you. Thank you. I'm glad you like this. So watch our backroom creations. You know, she's going to have something just as adorable. Thank you, Boom. Thank you. I appreciate all the hearts and thumbs ups. Thank you. I'm glad you all like it. So if you want one, you don't want to make it, let me know. Yes, I love this material too, but I thought I was just ordering cotton gingham, but it has a silky finish. I'll probably never find it again. Thank you, Brenda. I'm glad. You're welcome. Okay, go watch our backroom creations, and I'll see you over there. Thank you. I'm glad you all like this. God bless you all. Have a wonderful night.